Oh, there's no jump scare or anything like that. It just really didn't know how to start this episode. Happy Halloween! We're gonna look at Luigi's Mansion, if you hadn't guessed yet. Yep. Yeah, Luigi's Mansion isn't really a retro title, but it's the perfect Halloween game, it's a sweet game to play, and they're finally coming out the sequel. It's the perfect time to step into the past and check out this launch title for the Gamecube. People were pretty shocked to learn that the new Nintendo system wasn't going to be coming out with a Mario game. Instead, the Gamecube was getting a game with Luigi as the starring character, and he was going to be busting ghosts. While Japan got the title in September, everywhere else missed the Halloween mark, and the US specifically got it in November of 2001. It actually got decent reviews, but got a lot of criticism as well, mostly centered on the goofy atmosphere, short length, and clipping issues with Luigi's flashlight and vacuum. But as most things go, especially the launch title games, most of the issues were blown way out of proportion. As Luigi, you're alerted that you have won a mansion in a contest that you don't even recall entering. When you get to the big scary place, you are greeted by ghosts and a small guy with a vacuum trying to battle said spooks. His name is Elvingad, and he has been hunting ghosts his whole life. He informs you that conveniently he has lived here since he was young, and that the mansion appeared out of thin air. When you both realize Mario came to the mansion first and never came out, Luigi suits up with Gad's tech and sets to suck up all the ghosts and find Mario. Yes, unfortunately, this game is another Find Mario extravaganza. Luigi just can't seem to catch a break. But thankfully, it's a minor subplot. You could remove it and replace it with something else, and it probably wouldn't even matter. The game focuses properly on Luigi trying to bust ghosts out of this spooky mansion. After you get a quick tutorial from the professor on how to use his high-tech Poltergust 3000, you head into the mansion and begin coming across ghosts to bust. There are several types of ghosts, but they all work the same way when it comes to catching them. In a stereotypical fashion, the ghosts hate light and most of the time only appear if you're looking in the opposite direction. What you need to do is then flash your light at the spooks and shock them and promptly suck them up. To actually get them into your Poltergust 3000, you have to pull away from the direction they are heading until their heart count goes down. Heart counts can be as low as 0, but get pretty high. Once you suck all the ghosts up for that particular room, the lights will turn on, and sometimes a chest will appear which will either hold a key or lots of cash and jewels. So you do this going from room to room, clearing them of spooks and getting keys and money. You'll come across the standard orange ghosts, ghosts that try to hug you to death, dancing Shy Guy ghosts, and the ghost of Donkey Kong, and various others. Also hidden in furniture is the occasional blue ghost. Shake furniture to get them out of hiding, and once you suck them up, you'll be rewarded with cash and jewels. Lastly, you have ghosts based on elements, water, fire, and ice. Once you find the method to control these elements with the vacuum, you have to use them against the spooks to weaken them before you suck them up. Light will have no effect on them until you neutralize their elemental power. Of course, you'll be doing battles with more than just these little spooks. What is a game without bosses? First, you'll encounter the mini-bosses of sorts. They are just larger, more human ghosts. Now, unlike the regular spooks, you have to solve a puzzle to get them to let their guard down. Some of them are as simple as just waiting for the right moment in their loop, and others need to be actually disturbed. This could be something like icing down their hot shower, cutting in on some romantic dancing, or wetting their bed. Others will actually force you to play along in a little game or immediately into a battle once the door locks behind you. All of these ghosts are much stronger than the small spooks and can break away much easier. The mini bosses have the added bonus of dropping what appears to be small, medium, and large pearls for you to grab for more cash. They will also at some point in the battle drop a poison mushroom, which like in other games, cause you to shrink. At this point, you can't use your Poltergeist 3000. Of course, you have full-on bosses. These ghosts bring you into a new dimension to do battle and usually tower over you. Though while these bosses are kinda cool in scope, scale, and design, they suffer from the modern Mario problems of having shared methods of defeat. You get your first taste with the baby who gets angry that you, the big adult, don't play fair, so he shrinks you down and tries to smush you with giant balls. You simply need to dodge his attacks until you can suck up a ball and fire it back. This is the running theme with each boss, firing balls to stun them until you can attempt to suck them up. You even see this with mini-bosses as well.
If you've never played Luigi's Mansion, you're probably wondering how there's a Mario related game about fighting ghosts without boos being present. Well, they are in fact in the game. Early on in the game, you'll stumble on all these boos hiding and they'll all fly away. It turns out the boos are behind the whole mansion appearing and thusly Mario's disappearance. The boos are handled and caught differently and can get pretty annoying. First off, you'll need to clear the room of the regular ghosts and thusly get the lights on. After which you use the Game Boy Horror, which up to this point was only looking at the map and getting clues from bosses via pictures, to track the boos in the room. Oddly enough, Gad made the boo sensor just to find anything round, which seems like the worst way to track a ghost. So you shake down furniture when the sensor beeps real fast, and you either get a boo, a ball, or a bomb. Once you do find a boo though, you begin trying to suck it up. Unlike the regular ghosts, the boos don't get pulled into the poltergeist. You drain their hearts and they slow down, but they can fly away much easier. But of course, they likewise don't pull you. The bad part of this is since they get away so easily, they tend to, and do so a lot when their heart level gets really high at the end of the game. Even worse is when they fly into a room not lit, their hearts drain even slower. It's best to let them hide again until you can light that room.
So that's the game in a nutshell. You run around the mansion trying to find Mario while busting some heads. In a spiritual sense, of course. While the game can be a little repetitive, the concept does well to keep you involved, and while it could be on the longer side, being a little shorter probably keeps it from being stale. Plus, there are plenty other things in the game to keep you interested.
Probably one of the best parts of the game is how goofy it is. At no point in the story, gameplay, or anything do I feel like the game is taking itself too seriously. There's a lot of humor, some of it good, and some of it terribly cheesy, but it is humor nonetheless. Luigi spends the entire time humming or whistling to the theme song. Doesn't seem like much, but it's actually a cool little touch. Not only that, but as his life gets lower, he gets more scared and starts having a hard time humming along without whimpering a little. The same goes for when he calls out to Mario. It goes from a straightforward question to a yell of panic. Even the way Luigi runs has a very light-hearted feel to it. Gad is silly all on his own as well, just some goofy old man who likes to hunt ghosts, lives underground, and stare at his paintings all day. He cracks jokes on occasions when he calls you on the Game Boy Horror, and that one time on the phone, when he's giving you some advice. Most of them fall short of actually being funny though. A lot of the mini-bosses are pretty goofy too, throwing out little jokes or just being playful. Others actually provide you with a decent reaction, such as the Ghost of Melody. In her room, you can get a whole band going to play the main theme from Super Mario Bros. There is also the Ghost of the Medium you can go to. When you bring her Mario's Lost items, she gives you a reading. Nothing she does is laugh out loud funny, but it's just goofy enough to be interesting the first time. But there are a lot of things that are not funny. Each boo has some goofy pun on the name Boo, such as Booigi, Bouffant, or Boozer. Okay, that really isn't one. But after the 45th time you encounter a boo, the joke is long dead. Pun intended. The toads are also really annoying and not cute or funny at all. You have to talk to them to light a few rooms and use them as save points. When you do, they usually has some sob story, which is obviously an attempt to be funny for at least a few of them. But they just aren't. There are some secrets to find as well to keep things interesting, as well as goals. I already mentioned the blue ghosts hidden in certain rooms, but there are more hidden items. There are hidden treasure rooms, hidden posters, and messages from the boos, and lots of treasure to find at random. Shaking items in each room can get you a treasure or hearts, and some areas have more treasure than others if you do the right thing, like water a certain plant. The posters are more of a little gag. Finding the giant "get out" warnings from the boos can actually cause you damage, but it's cool all the same. Once you capture all the ghosts up to a certain checkpoint, you get to turn them back into paintings for Gad's collection. This is where the money comes into play. After each round, your ghosts get turned into paintings with fancy frames. The more pearls you collect from that ghost, the fancier the frame is, and the more overall money you have at the end of the round, the fancier the boss frame is. Once you're done turning them into paintings, you can go back and check out your work. Not only do they get better frames, but their paintings are different, being more intricate and colorful the more money you had. It was a way to track your progress and have achievements before those became so popular. A good little touch.
So the real question is this a good game or does it fall short like others say? Well, for me, it really does the ghost busting concept really well. I mean, not even any games based on the Ghostbusters franchise did it as well as Luigi's Mansion up to this point. You get an actual feel for trying to catch these ghosts. You actually feel like the ghosts are pulling you away as you're trying to suck them into the vacuum. It's a really unique experience. If there's one thing this game does, it keeps you entertained with a new concept.
There are issues though. Some can be excused and none really ruin the gameplay, but there is no reason to just ignore them. First, there's the odd clipping issues from Luigi. He doesn't fall through walls or half goes through corners, but just watches poltergeists as he moves around. It's almost like it was just stuck on his body and wasn't made to sit there correctly. Almost as if the poltergeist wasn't originally part of the environment. The tubing clips through Luigi and the poltergeist body clips through Luigi's back and head when he moves a certain way, and when Luigi falls on his backside, it just clips to the floor. They spent time to make the tube fly around as if it was a real flex tube, but it gets distracting as you watch him walk away from the camera and it's slapping through everything. I remember people complaining about the flashlight clipping and surrounding objects weird, but being in an early use of point lighting coming from a character and that it does function correctly, I'm not going to nitpick on that. The controls are great, and I've never felt like the environment gets in the way of Luigi's movements or hinders his progress. He's stiff in a good way, it feels natural to his body shape, but there is one oddity, he can't jump. I know it's not a platformer, but this is what Luigi comes from. Allowing him to jump could have helped change up the environments. The repetitive nature of the game will be hit and miss for people. For me, the repeating theme, which is layered upon the score and Luigi, and going to each room and basically doing the same things several times over, doesn't bother me. It's all catchy enough to be interesting, but not everyone will feel the same way. So just be aware going into it. If you hate repetition no matter what, you'll hate this game. If you don't mind it as long as it's fun, you'll do fine.
So do I suggest this game? Definitely. It's a great, lighthearted, spooky, fun game to play any time of the year, and especially this time of the year. While it has some of the minor issues that I mentioned, they're easily overlooked, and I've never really felt like it's a game not worth playing or keeping in my collection for these 10 years. I'm really excited to see what they do with the sequel coming out for the 3DS. I'm pretty sure that no matter what, I'm going to have some fun catching some ghosts. Have a happy Halloween, be safe tonight, and I'll see you next time.